But the next session I'm very excited about because it's our very own Alvanon consulting team. We're joined today by Don Howard, who is the Executive Director of Consulting at Alvanon, and two of his senior consultants, Alice Rodrigues and Emily Robertson-Hood, both senior consultants here at Alvanon. This session, the 12:15 session, is titled Inside the Alvanon Standard North America Men's Series. If you were a part of the festival last year, you may remember that we launched our brand new European standard series, which included men, women, atelier women, and children. Well, I'm very excited to hear from Don, Alice, and Emily, because they will be talking about the brand new Alvanon Standard North America Men's Series. And for those of you that don't know, the Alvanon Standard Series is a collection of regionally specific sizing standards. They're developed by Alvanon's expert team of consultants and modelers using a combination of proprietary body scan data and global body demographic and population studies and data. Our physical and virtual alva forms are built using these standards. In this session, Don, Alice, and Emily are going to share their methodology and story behind the development of the new North American Men's Standard Series and the benefits of virtual alva forms and virtual alva form size sets. Now, I think that's enough for me. Don, Emily, Alice, are you guys there? You can go ahead and turn on your cameras.
We're here. Yes, we're here. I'm not sure that we're all going to share our cameras. I will say hello, and I'll say thank you all for joining us as we present our latest regional standard series, the North American Men. Well, there's Alice. Say, Emily, say hello, Emily. So anyway,
Hello.
Alice and Emily really led the development of this. And let's see, Jill, are you able to share the presentation? I think Jill is sharing. There we go. Okay, I'm going to kill my camera because it's a little easier for me to focus on this story. So the North American Standard Series, we're very excited about it. Alice and Emily led this development, and we felt that this was long overdue. But the simple fact is the process of developing a new standard series like this is really not simple. It's especially one that's as complex as this. It takes a long time and requires a lot of dedicated resource to create these fundamental tools. So, as Jordan alluded to, the regional standards, why do we do it? Well, since 2004, we've made every effort to provide updated regional standards as off-the-shelf fit tools that would be available for our clients, both in the physical fit forms and today, of course, as identical 3D alva forms. Now, the standards are created by the consulting team and our modeling team, and they're really intended to address a few things here. Changes in the population for size and shape, changes in overall demand for size coverage in today's world, of course, the evolving technology and end-use features, and also the need for complete size sets in 3D in this digital supply chain that goes beyond the singular focus on core size fit evaluations. So why do we develop body standards in the first place? It's really to create accurate tools for garment evaluation in the physical and in 3D. Because without a standard, there's no logical basis for decision-making or taking action. And for those in the product development process of apparel, you know the apparel product development can be emotional and include no shortage of opinions. So standards are critically important. Now, Alvanon was founded on the idea that the human body should be realistically represented as a tool for apparel creation, right? Traditionally, these tools have been used in the physical and only available that way, but now that the digital twin is available, brands have really accelerated success in 3D by utilizing both, okay? This really has represented a seismic shift in the industry, right, for garment evaluation, which is now including things we never thought we'd be seeing, digital approvals in 3D for fit. And as brands develop their 3D strategies, the ability to use the identical standard tools in 3D is really critical to avoid any digital disconnects down the road, which we'll discuss a little bit later. But bearing in mind, this is not very sexy. These are the fundamental tools for garment standardization. And Emily, could you begin by giving us a little bit of insight as the type of technical details that are involved in these tools, both physical and digital?
Yeah, of course. So to bridge that end use digital disconnect with real life, we did listen to our customers and what they were asking for. And all of our standard series use the latest anatomical and body scan data. And we built these enhanced features into each form and avatar. So no extra charge, they're just built in. And they all come with what we've been calling a denim rise, which is something that enables the user to fit closer to the body. We have been able to build in a more natural leg stance, which is great for fitting things like trousers. Of course, you'll see that there's posture updates to the shoulders, a little bit more relaxed, not quite as upright as before. And body sculpting has really become one of the keys to cross-functional use and acceptance in that cross-functional use. So we've built in secondary features like head, hands, feet, and of course the face. So these are end-use tools that we really feel like are state of the art at this point. Now, if digital is one of the seismic shifts in the industry, let's hear about the other seismic shift towards inclusivity. Alice, talk to us about that.
Sure. Inclusivity these days can mean a lot of different things to a lot of people. It can be about acknowledging ethnicity diversity, gender, or size diversity. Today, we're really going to focus on size diversity. When it comes to creating inclusive sizing, there are a few different strategies you can use to determine your size ranges. But regardless of how you approach it, you need to address the changes in body shape across a range when you're developing your product fit. And this has always been one of the biggest challenges in our industry. Simply put, you can't grade your way into big sizes. We'll talk about that a little bit more later on. And now we're going to show you Alvanon's new North American standards. We started with a core size of 40 or medium, because that's the most common core size that people use. I mean, it's pretty generic. And we do know that there is definitely a need for two distinctly different bodies. So we created both an athletic and a classic form. The athletic is for a brand that perceives their customer as perhaps being more fit or athletic or even a little bit younger. And they want a standard that reflects that customer. You can see here that he has broader shoulders with a bigger, more built up neck, more muscular biceps and thighs, and a slimmer waist, and more developed glutes, which is what you would expect to see on someone who's more fit or who works out. Now, your classic guy is for a brand that perceives their customer to perhaps be a little more mature or just kind of your average Joe, which is not to disparage him compared to his more athletic brother. He represents a much greater percentage of the population.
Okay, so Alice and Emily, how did we land on classic and athletic? Well, we do what we always do. We listen to our customers, and then we look at data. And here's what we saw.
Right. You know, we love our data at Alvanon. And what we did was look into the demand going back to probably 2012 to see what tracked with our customers. Now, in men's apparel, there's historically this thing called the drop. It's really the mathematical chest to waist difference between in the body. So 5 to 6 inches is a time-honored standard for brands that encompass all types of product. They're really, as Alice said, for your average guy. 7 to 8 inches is a slightly newer point of view, and this is often used by athletic or youth-driven brands. So when we look at our off-the-shelf, these are non-custom forms, just off the shelf, we can see that the demand for these two different types is about 50-50. So very viable either way. Both body types are both body types are viable. It really comes down to knowing who your customer is and what's the right shape for your brand. And here is the athletic size set. With the increase in alpha size product in the market globally, we've correlated numeric sizes to alpha based on what we're seeing in the market. And why many brands ask us to make this correlation, it certainly is not set in stone. A brand can do what's right for their market. So you'll notice the athletic sizing runs to 52 XXL. Well, when we looked into our database, we didn't see a commercial need for athletic bodies above size 52. And when we look at the lower end of the size range, brands requiring a size small will generally look at our youth sizes 16 or 18. This is one of my favorite tools. This is an MP4 that's been created showing how the body grows. And I know a lot of our technical users love to look at this because you can really get a close up on many different parts. So as we developed this size set, care was taken to ensure that the shape transition flowed smoothly from one size to the next, which of course will be an aid in grading. And the points that we really honed in on were things like the stance, the posture, shoulders, armhole, and of course the rise shape. Don, do you want to talk a little bit to us about Classic?
Yes, because he's on mute. So thank you for the athletic explanation. And now let's talk about the Classic, because the Classic body is, again, more of that traditional 5 to 6 inch chest to waist drop for menswear. And the body really reflects the majority of men in North America. So Alice, what's the demand look like historically for our Classic body type?
Well, when we combined the demand for both off-the-shelf and custom forms, historically, more than 62% have gone with that 5 to 6 inch drop. And our new Classic guy has a 5.5 inch drop right in the middle, because that's a really good versatile choice for all kinds of brands who are creating product for your average guy. For brands with a broader range of sizes, the body shape, which means also, of course, the drop, does change across the range, especially in the bigger sizes. Naturally, as people get bigger, they tend to put on more weight in their midsection, so that drop gets a little bit less. But at the core size, it's at 5.5. And here is our Classic size set. The Classic, we think, is the most versatile of all of the size ranges. We've developed this for brands who may have a global reach that might extend into Europe or Asia, so they need very expansive size range. And also there are brands that make uniforms that also need to have expansive size ranges. So we've run this from an extra small 35 all the way up to the 52 2XL. And it's important to note out here that the sizes 46 to 52 are considered crossover sizes, and those are also in the big men's range.
So with the growing importance of size inclusivity in the market, more brands, we see are shifting from offering a separate range for regular men and big men to presenting a single inclusive range to the consumer. Now that's a lot easier said than done, because there's some technical considerations that we have to do behind the scenes, but let's dial into big men now.
Right. So in the spirit of inclusivity, we're offering size 52 in both the athletic and Classic body profiles. And we thought it would be interesting for you to see the difference between the two of them. So as we said, when we looked into our data set, while there may be some bigger men in athletic bodies, the percentages are really, really minimal. Guys with NFL type bodies are really less than 0.05 of the population. So the athletic range tops out at this 52XL because it's the most common core size for bigger men, regardless of whether or not their target customer is athletic or not. Luckily, we've got Alice here to talk to us a little bit more about selecting the big man core size.
Thanks, Em. So we took a look at our demand that we've had historically for the big men's sizes. And when we saw that and looked at all the off-the-shelf and custom forms we've been asked for, more than 71% went with that big men's 52. And that's what we really recommend for a lot of brands, because it's the shape that truly represents what a big man looks like in terms of size and shape. And here is the big men's range. And this is a traditional big men's range that gives you the option of extending that size range any way you need. Like we said, the sizes 46 to 52 are also continued into the regular size range, which gives you that flexibility of offering whatever range you need. And you can see here in the growth from one size to the next across all of the ranges, they've been developed so that not just the measurements, but the shape and the balance evolution reflects what really happens when people get bigger and smaller. And that progression of size and shape across the range has also been thought through to provide the brands with a tool for that. Next slide. And here in the growth, like Emily was saying, you can really see in these videos how the sizes transition from one to the other, and that the stance and the posture, the girth distribution, and even things down to the details of the arm angle and the armhole shape transition smoothly from one size to the next. It's also super clear from looking at this why you would need to reblock for this kind of shape evolution to get a good fit at every size. There's just way too much change in the shape and balance of this body to get there through grading. So with reblocking, as we had mentioned before, the technical designers have to do a lot of work behind their scenes to make this happen. It's a lot of effort and a lot of coordination to make this appear seamless or continuous to the consumer. What you've got to do is develop that core fit on your product at a core size, typically right around a 40, which is the size that most brands choose for a core. And then you've got to redevelop the product again at a bigger core size, or what some people call a jump size, which is typically around that 52. Then you've got to grade in both directions in a way that makes sure that you don't end up with any overlapping or gapping where those two size ranges meet. And it's a considerable amount of effort on the part of the technical teams and a lot of coordination, but it's well worth the effort.
Yeah, so I'd like to talk a little bit about, thanks for that explanation, Alice, that was great. The versatility of using this type of a tool, okay? So as we mentioned earlier, these can be both in the physical and the identical 3D version, the Alvaform, okay? The avatar, if you will. So one of the things here in the regular range is created so that you can really choose the core size and the range that works for your brand. And we said, you know, many people will start on that size 40, but you can fit on a 39, 42, 44, whatever your core size is. And even, you know, you might have a limited range, like a size small through maybe up to L or XL. But we think that regular range going from XS all the way to XXL represents like the full technical extension of getting up to that bridge where you cross over into really what would be a big men's size. So when you look at the lineup here, 46 to 68, that's created because some brands do offer, many brands offer a separate plus size range where you have to reblock again. This is the, you know, this identical 52 in that range on the lower side of the slide becomes your reblocking point. Then you grade down and grade up from there. So it's behind the scenes, it's technical in nature, but you just cannot grade your way up to 68 6XL. And we know that brands have different types of strategies, right? They might have different distribution channels. They might be required to offer both a regular and a plus big guy range, simply because of the demand of their customers. But this also provides you that ability to have a seamless range that's client facing, but you still need to reblock at the size 52X. So one other little trick here I'd like to point out here is in the digital environment where you're utilizing these tools for other purposes, like the design teams, the merchandising teams, the marketing teams, you know, they want to see this. One of the benefits here is if they want to see a smaller size, they can choose a 38 instead, or a 37, and use that for their purposes in 3D. And most importantly, you would have the ability to visualize all product, no matter what size it is, right? So technical teams get to visualize what that product really looks like at 64 or 68. And then you'd be able to show that to clients and illustrate what those garments really look like at that size. So I think that's really, really an important feature here. And, you know, as we go on to the next slide and we think back to the conversation we heard earlier with Jason and Ty on, you know, what is the future in 3D? I'm sure we don't know what it's going to be, but this is really a compelling image, because this image is the Alvanon standard North American athletic men's 40 enhanced as a human-like avatar. Okay, so again, this really demonstrates that these tools enable brands to further leverage capabilities in 3D, and using these enhanced fundamental tools for purposes in addition to the technical fit which it was originally created for. And again, that will help us to reduce and ideally prevent the chances for digital disconnects in product fit across the enterprise, and most importantly, to the end consumer.
Right. So some key takeaways here is that this new North American Men's Standard Series has been developed for inclusivity in terms of body diversity, in terms of size diversity, in terms of body shape diversity. And this versatility is going to meet most universal brand sizing strategies for shape, size range, and it's offered in these three different groupings. The athletic body shape, which goes from 36 small to 52 XXL. The classic body shape that goes from your 35 extra small to 52 XXL, and classic big men's from 46 to first time ever 68 or 6XL.
Wow.
And the good news is there's already tools that are ready to support these new standards, and these are very exciting. So Alice will tell us about those.
Sure. What we've done is for the first time, we are ready with extra technical tools. So for the technical teams who are out there that could be interested, we've also already developed 4 primary blocks that map to the core size fit bodies in this range. So for the athletic 40, the classic 40, and that classic / big 52, we now have blocks ready for a woven shirt and a knit tee, and for a woven trouser and a knit legging, which will certainly help move things along. If you're preparing to develop extended sizes, you can move right into it and have your blocks at your core sizes already for you.
Yeah, it's not very sexy, but boy, it gives you a real fundamental tool to work with. And you look at these, go on to the next slide, that's fine. If you look at the, this transition from our guy who was the fit form with physical garments on, and the 3D identical avatar with his digital authenticated garment on as well, you can see how this is so important and can help drive efficiency in the entire product development process. So again, beyond the intent as technical fit tools for garment evaluation, These new size sets also allow brands the practical ability to further leverage 3D, right? It will enable more accurate garment visualization in all sizes and in all other areas of the enterprise. And you know, we're excited about it. You know, as we say, all we can do is evolve, and this is where we are today. So that concludes our presentation for the North American men. I don't know how much time we have left, but I'm sure we could entertain a few questions.
Hey, yeah, Don, Emily, Alice, thank you guys so much for that. Boy, I think we're getting a bit of an echo from somebody. Yeah, there were a couple of questions that came in. Oh, actually, a bunch are rolling in. So we have about probably 2 or 3 minutes before we have to shift into the next one. I see this question came in from Shoreful asking about multi-pose and human-like avatars. We do have a handful of human-like virtual avatar forms that have been developed, and several more are in development. If you'd like, you can actually head to, rather than me list them all off here, you can just head over to alvanon.com/contact-us, or just head to the alvanon.com website, and on the far right it says contact, and you can get in touch with anybody in your region, and they will be able to give you more information about that. But I know that the modeling team in Hong Kong, as well as you know, working with the consultants, they've managed to develop arms up, arms forward, crouching, seated, shifted weight, one leg up type poses. So a lot of possibilities there. Stacy is asking about a similar. Do you guys have a similar presentation for North American women's? Don, I think you're on mute.
Funny you should ask, Stacy. We are just beginning the development. I don't want to give away any additional information, but we would like to be able to have that coming soon. I would probably imagine sometime in 2022. As I mentioned, it takes a long time to do this. And if you really want to know, we've done, as Jordan said, just go online and look. We've done China size sets. We've done North American, European for women and for men and for kids. We have China kids. We launched a new North American kids standard about 2 years ago. Plenty of options out there available. Please use the standards, right? That's why we create them. We want to make them available so that you have the ability to get in, not only physical, but as you start planning your 3D journey, that you can be using these tools consistently throughout. It's especially if you've never started in 3D, you've got a great opportunity to step off on the right foot.
Absolutely. And I actually, just a little bit further up in the chat, I included a link that you can visit. It was from me at 12:40 p.m. and you can get a full list of Alvanon's regional sizing standards by clicking on that link. It's just called the Alvanon Standard Series. So everything that Don mentioned. This next question came in. We probably have time for 1 or 2 more from Jessica. Is Alvanon considering creating base blocks for more of their form line?
Every standard that we offer have associated blocks with them. Okay, so you know, again, it's really a wonderful entry point. You know, Alice was talking earlier about that transition to a big men and reblocking at big men. If you've never done it before, or if you'd like to double check how you're doing it, why not grab those tools, right? You can learn more about it. You can understand exactly why the changes are happening as you migrate, and then start grading those garments all the way up to 6XL. Wonderful exercise, great informational tools to further your education on the subject.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that about wraps it up. I would also, the question about blocks, I would also just call your attention to tomorrow, the last session of the day, starting at 1:10 p.m. We actually have our entire blocks department with Alvanon. We have Christina Anusko, who's the director of blocks and grading at Alvanon. She will be giving a great presentation. We're calling it a masterclass, calibrating in digital product creation. So I would encourage you to tune into that. Tune into the entire day. But Don, Emily, Alice, thank all 3 of you so much for joining us and sharing. It seems you guys have really struck a nerve, and there's been a lot of feedback. So thank you guys.
Thanks. Enjoy the rest of Tech Fest.